So as I told you, ovary gives rise to the seed and ovule gives rise to the seed and ovary grows to form the fruit. That is as a result of sexual reproduction. And then in sexual reproduction what happens? There is fertilization happening. Fertilization of male gamete with the egg cell, and then also there is a double fertilization in angiosperm cell, which I told you. There is triple fusion and single. Now the final product when fruit is formed. So what are the different parts of the fruit? Let's study that. So fruit is nothing but the ovary wall, which is present, which we have studied later. The ovary wall develops into fruit wall. Ovary wall gets developed into the outer covering of the ovary, that is the ovary wall. It leads to the formation of the fruit wall, and the fruit wall, it is the outer fruit wall is. So the fruit develops from the ovary, and the different parts of the fruit. The first one, the ovary wall develops into the fruit wall. Fruit wall is nothing but it is nothing but known as pericarp, and pericarp can again be classified into three. The outer covering of the fruit is nothing but it is known as the exocarp. Then the middle portion, mesocarp. This one also it is known as epicarp. Epicarp. Middle portion, the fleshy region, that is nothing but the part of the fruit is nothing but the mesocarp, and the innermost is nothing but endocarp. So exocarp or epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. These are the different layers of the pericarp. Pericarp is made up of all this, and inside all these layers the seed is formed. So fruit also here, it protects the seed protects the embryo. So that is one more important one. And then also when the fruit is formed, you can see here, some fruits are fleshy in nature, some fruits are dry. So we can classify that as fruits can again be classified as fleshy, and some will be dry fruits. Fleshy fruits, you know that it's very commonly guava, mango, orange, all are nothing but the fleshy fruits. And dry fruits like peanut, groundnut, all those comes mustard, all that it comes under dry fruit. And in the case of the this one groundnut and all, you can see hard seed coat is present outside. Here that is the pericarp is present, which protects the seed inside. So fruits can be classified as fleshy fruits and dry fruits. Then generally you know that the fruits develop from ovary. Matured ovary is known as fruit, and inside the fruit there is ovule. Now in some species what happened, the fruit develops from other parts of the flower. Flower is a reproductive part of the plant. So what happened, fruits which develop only from the ovary, we call them as true fruits. True fruits. It develops only from ovary. So that is known as true fruit, and some fruits it develops with the ovary plus some other part. For example, thalamus. You know receptacle. The thalamus is that is the region that is where all the floral parts of the plants are arranged. So on the thalamus you can see the petals, the sepals are the first one, green structure, then the sepals, and inside the petals you can see inner region there is androecium, and then you have the gynoecium where stigma, style and ovary which you have done. So in certain kind of fruits, what happened, along with the ovary, even the other non-floral part, that is the thalamus also will be developed into fruit formation. So that kind of fruits are known as false fruits. And example of false fruits are nothing but apple, then strawberry and cashew nut. So in apple and all, the fleshy part which we are eating is nothing but the ovary, it is thalamus which is produced. And apple, when you see it, this is the region when you see inside of the apple. Okay, this is nothing but the thalamus. And here you can see the seed, and that is the over here, that is the epicarp will be present, then endocarp, and these are the ovules or the seed which is present inside that. So the fleshy part which we are eating, the part which we eat of apple is nothing but thalamus. And two more examples of false fruits are nothing but apple, strawberry, and then cashew nut comes under false fruit. True fruits are nothing but it develops only from the ovary, that is mango, orange, all comes under true fruit category, even the tomatoes and all. Now this is again, now what are the significance of fruit formation by the plant? The main significance of fruit which the plant produces nothing but it protects the seed. Seed in turn protects the embryo first, and also fruit, it is a mode of seed dispersal. When some animals or some birds and all, when they come to eat the fruit, what happens? It disperses, it takes the seed along with the fruit and it is taken away from the place where the mother plant is present. So that is nothing but it is known as seed dispersal. And seed dispersal is very, very important. Why seed dispersal is important? Because if the seed falls just below the mother plant, what happens? All the seeds will germinate below near the mother plant, and then the seeds will be competing. There will be a tough competition between the seedlings for what? Air, water, oxygen, and even the nutrients from the soil. So only the healthiest one will grow, and rest all the which cannot get the proper nutrients or water or the sunlight and all, they will degenerate, it will not grow very well. So dispersal of seed is very important. Fruit is one of the factor which helps in the dispersal of seeds. Next you can see there are certain mechanisms. These all are nothing but, fruits is nothing but it's a product of sexual reproduction by the plants. But there are certain mechanisms adopted by the plants where the sexual reproduction is happening, but it is little bit imitating kind. So certain kinds of fruits, what happen? I told you inside the fruit ovules are present, that is the seeds are present. But certain plants, what happen? They will be the floral part and all. You have learned that syngamy, the male gamete fuses with the egg cell, or the another male gamete combines with the polar nuclei. But in certain fruits are formed without fertilization. So that kind of fruits are known as parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpic fruits. Parthenocarpic fruits means, or it is known as, the phenomena is known as parthenocarpy. Here the fruits are formed without fertilization. Without fertilization. And then, so because if there is no fertilization, what will happen? The fruits will not have seed in it. So parthenocarpic fruit is nothing but seedless fruits. Seedless fruits. One simple common example of that is banana. Banana also there is no fertilization in it, and banana when it is formed, you can see that it will not have any seed in it. So this parthenocarpic technique is very, very important. Now this is it's being used from many years. Why it is important in the field of, that is, fruits are nothing but nowadays used for making jam, jellies and all that. So watermelon or grapes which is having lots of seed in it, what happened? The process of removing the seeds and all will be very difficult. So the technique of producing fruits without the seed comes under this parthenocarpic. Okay, so here it can be, again we can classify the parthenocarpic fruits. It can be induced in the plants to produce this, okay, by using the growth hormones. So this parthenocarpic again we can classify under two. One is known as vegetative parthenocarpy and other one is known as stimulative parthenocarpy. In vegetative parthenocarpy, what happened? The pollination itself does not take place. There is no need for stimulus of pollination. The plant itself, it will carry out, that is, it will produce the fruits vegetatively without undergoing the fertilization. In the stimulative kind of parthenocarpy, it means what happened? There is a stimulus required for pollination, and the stimulus is provided by the growth hormones. Mainly it is auxins and gibberellins. And auxins and gibberellins can also be produced by the another growth hormones, nothing but it also initiates the production of those growth hormones, that is cytokines. That's very, very important. So parthenocarpic fruit we told you, we have discussed about it. Now let's study two other reproductive mechanisms which the plants adopt other than the sexual reproduction. Okay, so one is parthenocarpy, that is seedless fruit. Fruit is formed without fertilization. And more common example is banana. Now grapes are being formed like that. Watermelon is formed. Pear is nothing but it is the example of vegetative parthenocarpy where the stimulating pollination is not required. Then grapes and all, gibberellin is mainly that it is growth hormone injected into the fruits for developing into seedless fruit. Another mechanism that is which can be seen, that is a mechanism which it is actually asexual reproduction where there is no fertilization, there is no gamete formation. That is male gamete is not fusing with the female gamete. So that kind of mechanism is known as apomixis. Apomixis. This is a Greek word made up of two. Apo means away from. Away from, and this is mixing, without mixing. Mixing or mingling. So, without the process of fertilization, that is the seeds, that is in the previous case parthenocarpy we saw that fruit is developed and in that seed is not there. Here fertilization is happening and seed is developed. Seed develops without fertilization. Seed develops without fertilization. That is the simple definition of apomixis. Seed develops without fertilization. When fruit develops without fertilization is parthenocarpy, which will not have any seed, but here seed is developing without fertilization. It is known as apomixis. It is also known as the apo means it's a Greek word, away from and without mixing of gametes. That is known as apomixis. Here there are different types of apomixis which you can classify this process into different category. First one is known as recurrent apomixis. Another one is known as the non-recurrent apomixis. Then you have adventitious apomixis, and last one is vegetative apomixis, or it is known as adventitious polyembryony. Now in recurrent apomixis, what happened? The diploid cell, that is megaspore mother cell. How is the ovule formed? The megaspore mother cell, it just undergoes meiotic division. Okay, that is reduction division, and then it forms the egg cell. But in recurrent apomixis, what happened? The megaspore mother cell will not undergo meiosis, and it gives rise to the egg cell. And here, if it is egg cell is formed without meiotic division, what is the ploidy of that? It is diploid. So that diploid egg cell will itself start growing into the apomixis fruit. So there is no fertilization happening over here. The gamete, there is no fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete, and the diploid cell itself will start growing into the embryo. Okay, and then it will not have, it will be, the seed will be developed in it, but the fruit is developed without that is seed is developed without the fertilization. In non-recurrent, what happened? The haploid egg cell. The haploid egg cell which is present in the embryo sac, it itself will give rise to the embryo. That means what is the ploidy of the embryo formed? The ploidy of the embryo formed will be haploid in nature. Here the ploidy of the embryo will be diploid in nature. So these are mainly sterile. Okay, so the ploidy of the non-recurrent kind of apomixis is nothing but it will be sterile. Now what is adventitious apomixis? You know the different parts of the embryo sac. So there is integument also there, there is nucellus over there. So apart from that, all those cells starts dividing. Okay, so it's not only the egg cell, the other cells also which is there, it will be start dividing. That is cells outside the embryo sac also will start dividing and it forms the embryo. So what happened in adventitious apomixis, or it is also known as adventitious polyembryony. Another term. Here the embryo sac also one embryo will be formed, and outside the embryo sac also, because of the division of the nucellus cells of the nucleus, the embryo will start developing. So more than one embryo will be formed. So presence of more than one embryo is known as polyembryony. Example, orange, lemon, citrus fruits and all, they come under the polyembryonic type of stage. That is presence of more than one embryo in a fruit. So if you take the orange fruit, seed and all, if you take it and if you squeeze it, and then you can see many embryos present. That is, one seed can also grow into many seedling or embryos. Now next one is vegetative apomixis. In vegetative apomixis, what happens? The flower is, that is inflorescence. I told you many flowers will be combined and it will form into a cluster of flowers, that is known as inflorescence. So generally inflorescence will have cluster of flowers. But in vegetative type of apomixis, some plants and all, what do they have? Like agave and lilium and all, what do they have? They have the inflorescence, but flowers will not be there, buds and bulbils will be there. They will start growing into the seedling embryo, and while they are still attached to the mother plant. So that comes under the kind of apomixis which is known as vegetative apomixis. So here in the case of recurrent, I told you the diploid egg cell, okay, that is which is formed from the without the reduction division of the megaspore mother cell, without undergoing meiosis, the egg cell which is diploid in nature, that will be formed, that grows and develops into the embryo. But in non-recurrent, what happens? The haploid, that is after the reduction division, the egg cell is actually haploid, that itself grows into the embryo. So that is also non-recurrent, that is known as non-recurrent apomixis, or apospory or apogamy also. There is other terms which is used for that. Adventitious, I told you, it is not only the cells of the embryo sac, other cells also will start dividing and it starts growing into the embryo. That is adventitious. In vegetative, what happened? I told you the inflorescence, instead of the flowers, the buds or bulbils are present on the inflorescence, which will germinate and which will give rise to the embryo. So these are the different types of apomixis which we have learned. Apomixis is nothing but seed which develops without fertilization. Parthenocarpy is the fruit which is developed without fertilization. And in parthenocarpy there won't be any seed, that is seedless fruit. Here the seed is developed, but there is no fusion of male and female gamete. There is no fertilization. Male gametes will not fuse with the female egg cell. So that is how apomixis is used. And this apomixis is very, very important in the agricultural field. That is hybrid seed variety. I told you seeds can be stored in the seed bank and it is collected by the farmers and they grow it in their field. So apomixis, the seed developed by apomixis is known as apomictic seed. It is known as apomix. And apomix are nothing but what happened here. Since the seed is formed without fertilization, it will retain all its parent's characteristic. It will be genetically similar to its parent plant because there is no genetic recombination. That is, two different plants hybrid and all, it's not being combined. So here it will retain all the characteristic features of the mother plant, that will be passed on to the seeds, and that will be passed on to the seedling, to the embryo and the seedling, the plant. The offspring which is formed from this will be having the exact copy of the chromosome which is present in the parent plant, that is the mother plant. So what happened? Genetically very good hybrid plant can be taken for this and very good variety of seeds can be formed. So how it is advantages of these seeds are nothing but the normal hybrid seeds, as we had learned in the last chapter, strategies on the plant breeding industries, different techniques and all. So those hybrid seeds are little bit costly or expensive to produce. Okay, that is first one. And second, the disadvantage of this is farmer has to grow this year after year, so that they can take it and it can be grown into the field to produce new crop varieties. That is the seed, the offspring which is there, it will have a different genetic recombination from both the parents. So that is the hybrid seeds. It has to be produced year after year. The production of hybrid seeds is very, very expensive. Instead of this, farmers can produce apomictic seeds, which is less expensive and it can be stored, developed, that is the seeds can be developed without fertilization. You remember somatic hybridization, that is the seeds are developed from the other vegetative parts of the plant. It is actually this process is nothing but it is an asexual reproduction which mimics the sexual reproduction, because all the parts are there, all the reproductive parts are involved in the production of the seed, but the fertilization process is not happening, and that is leading to the development of the seed. So that is known as apomixis, and the advantage of this is it is less expensive and it can be, that is large amount of seeds can be produced, and which is the healthy varieties, the whatever is there in the parent plant, that can be transferred on to the offspring. So many research work is done on this to produce this kind of seeds for different varieties of plants. The other mechanism is nothing but polyembryony. Polyembryony, which is exhibited a certain reproductive mechanism which is found in the plants. Poly means what it is, again we can divide it into two parts. Poly means many, and embryo means, embryony means embryos. That means more than one embryo is formed. Generally a plant, simple flower, you know that it will have single ovule, it has single ovary, and the single ovary it will be having a single embryo sac, it will be having single egg cell. But in some plants what happen, it produces more than one embryo. So that mechanism is known as polyembryony. It is also one of the mechanism of the apomixis. Here what happened, it is not only the egg cell which is undergoes fertilization with the male gamete to form the embryo. Here the embryo can be formed in many different ways. One, it can be formed from the integuments, that is the covering of the ovule. Integument cell starts dividing, which is diploid in nature, or it can develop from the nucellus, which is also diploid in nature. Embryos develop from the cells of integument, it can develop from the cells of the nucellus, or it can develop from synergids, which is also, synergids, they are nothing but the haploid in nature. So from these the embryos can be formed. This is one technique by which polyembryony, more than one embryo can be found in the ovary. So that is one. Another variety this polyembryony can be formed is, that is embryo, more than one embryo can be formed. More than one embryo is formed in the ovule. More than one embryo will be formed in the ovule. So this is also one of the feature which leads to the production of polyembryony. And another one, more than one. And another character, that is the reason for the production of polyembryony is nothing but more than one egg cell will be found in the ovule. More than one egg cell will be found in the ovule. So more than one embryo in the ovary, and more than one that is egg cell in the ovule. All these conditions will lead to the formation of polyembryony. This is mainly found in the citrus fruits, that is lemon, orange and all that. You can see it. There's many embryos are found in one in the seed. When you take the seed and all, you can see more than one embryos will be formed, which will give rise to many embryos. So this is the topic which we have covered. So with this topic, we have come to the end of the chapter. These are very important topics which we have discussed. Please understand it properly. One, we had started with the structure of the development of the seed, different parts of the seed, then different parts of the fruit. Please learn that properly and label it. Diagrammatic questions can be asked on basis of that. Then we have learned about the seed dispersal. What is the significance of seed? Seed dormancy. Examples. Two examples are given. Lupinus architects, and then which is found in the Arctic tundra. Please learn all that properly. And then the different parts of a fruit, different types of the fruit, true fruit and false fruit, dry fruit and fleshy fruit, and finally the different reproductive mechanism, that is asexual mechanisms, which are seen under the parthenocarpic seedless fruit. Example is banana. Now many fruits are being developed in that manner. That is this one, watermelon, which has large number of seeds in it. Then fig is actually naturally, you can see so many seeds are present. So the parthenocarp, then we had learned about apomixis, that is development of seed without fertilization, and in the end that is polyembryony. Why? What are the conditions which lead to polyembryony, that we had discussed it. Now I want all of you to look into the slides and understand the concept very well and write down the notes and all properly, and then learn all the definition, all the concepts very well. So, children, we had discussed about development of seeds, development of fruits, types of fruits, different asexual mode of reproduction such as parthenocarpy, apomixis and polyembryony in today's class. Now, first, the structure of some seeds. What are seeds? Seeds are nothing but it is a final product of sexual reproduction which is triggered after double fertilization. The ovule gets transformed into seeds and seeds are found within the fruits. Now when you look into the structure of a typical seed, you can see it is made up of three parts. There is an outer part which is known as seed coat, then two fleshy cotyledons and an embryonal axis. Seed coats can be one or two in numbers. The outer seed coat it is known as the testa and the inner seed coat is known as the tegmen. Then these are the two cotyledons which are present. This is a seed of beans, so which is dicot in nature. Two seeds are there and they are rich in food materials which give nourishment to the growing embryo. This is the embryo. And then it has another imaginary line that is known as the embryonal axis. And as I told you, the part below the embryonal axis is the hypocotyle and part above the embryonal axis forms the epicotyle. And below the hypocotyle there is radicle which is then also covered in few by root cap. And this is the plumule region with lots of meristematic tissues. So this is the structure of a dicot seed. Now you can see this is a typical monocot seed, example of a corn seed. And in this, as I told you in the previous class only, that is here also this part, this is known as the cotyledon. And this cotyledon, it is nothing but in monocot it is known as scutellum. And these parts are nothing but the embryo. This whole thing is known as the embryo. And here you can see if this is the embryonal axis, the part above the embryonal axis, you have the coleoptile which covers the shoot apex. And below there is this part is nothing but it is that is part below the hypocotyle forms the coleorhiza which it protects the radicle. And then you can see the additional structure over here, very important. This is the endosperm. So this endosperm, it gives nourishment to the growing embryo. And then here in the maize seed also, there is an outer covering, important one, it is known as aileron layer. The main function of aileron layer is, it is rich in protein which gives nourishment to the embryo. So that is the important function of the aileron layer which is found in the maize, that is the monocot seed. And then as such you can see here the endosperm is left, which is triploid in nature. It remains in the seed, but in this case there is no endosperm. So on that basis also we can classify the seeds as the albuminous seed or non-albuminous seeds. So types of seed, non-albuminous seed is non-endospermous. That is the seed is with no residual endosperm. And this is found in peas, groundnut, mustard. Albuminous seed like maize which we have studied, they are the seed with residual endosperm will be, that is it is present even in the seed. So for example, wheat, maize, onion, castor, coconut, all are example of albuminous seed. Please learn the examples properly of both non-albuminous and albuminous seeds. Then the fruit, the next part of the developmental stage is nothing but the ovary gets converted into the fruit. So you can see the comparative, what are the different parts of the ovule and how it gets converted. Ovary wall gets converted into the pericarp, ovule gets converted to seed, funicle gets converted to the stalk of the seed by which it attaches to the fruit. Hilum remains as hilum, that is a small opening, that is a point of attachment. Nucellus in black pepper or beetroot. In some seeds, the nucellus will be available. So that is known as perisperm. This is very important for MCQ question. Micropyle, which was found in the ovary through which the pollen tube enters, remains inside in the seed itself. It is found in seed also because it allows the entry of water and oxygen into the germinating seed. Outer integument in the ovary gets transformed into testa and inner integument gets converted into tegmen. Then, fruits can be classified based on how they are developed. That is, there are three types of fruits: simple fruits, aggregate fruits, and composite of multiple fruits. Simple fruits develop from monocarpellary or syncarpous ovaries of a single flower. Okay, like mango, tomato, all are example of simple fruits. But in aggregate fruits, it develops from apocarpous, that is multicarpellary ovary of a single flower. And for example, that is one flower and many fruits will be there. So this is nothing but custard apple. That is the example of aggregate fruits. Next one is composite or multiple fruits. They develop from many flowers of entire inflorescence will be the spadix kind of, there is a one kind of inflorescence. So the entire, the fruit develops from the entire inflorescence. Many flowers and single fruit is formed. So what is the example? Very common here. Jackfruit is the example of that. So simple fruit is tomato, mango. Then aggregate fruit, the example is custard apple, and composite fruit, the example is jackfruit. Then fruits can also be classified as true fruits and false fruit based on the part of the flower from which it has been developed. So fruits that develop only from ovary are known as true fruits. For example, pea, wheat, maize, mango, tomato. But false fruits are the fruits that develop from the ovary and the thalamus or any other part of a flower. You know, thalamus or receptacle, that is a region, disc-like region around which all the other parts, floral parts are arranged. So, example of that is apple, strawberry and cashew nut. The apple fruit which we are eating, the fleshy part is nothing but the thalamus, and actual ovary and the seed is found within the apple. Next, you can see these are the examples of the false fruit. So in this example, that is the TS of apple, you can see the fleshy part which we eat is nothing but the thalamus, and this part is nothing but the fruit, and endocarp is present over here, and then you can see this is the seed inside it. And fruit also, you can see there are different layers. The outer layer, it will be forming the, that is epicarp, endocarp and the mesocarp and the endocarp. That are the three different parts of a fruit. And this is an example of the fruit. Again, you can see it. That is a section of the fruit. This is the thalamus, the seeds over here. This is the endocarp, and then the middle portion, this is nothing but the mesocarp. This is the example of a strawberry. Even that is an example of false fruit. This very common in Kerala, you must have seen it. That is cashew nut. This is nothing but cashew apple, and this is the cashew nut which is present. Even these all are examples of false fruits. Next, we had discussed about parthenocarpic fruit, very important concept. That is, these fruits are formed without fertilization of the are called parthenocarpic fruits. So you have we have discussed that in the last chapter. That is a fusion of male gamete with the egg cell give rise to the zygote. Here in parthenocarpic fruits and all, there is no fertilization, but the fruits are formed. So in such fruits, they don't have seeds. So they are known as seedless fruits. For example, the natural seedless, that is parthenocarpic fruits, are banana. Because here there are male flowers also there, female flowers are there. But the male flowers in a banana plant, that is when it is formed, they are sterile in nature. So there is no point of fertilization. So in that case, the female flowers develop into the fruits. That is green color, and on ripening it changes into yellow. So natural example of parthenocarpic is nothing but banana. But parthenocarpy can also be induced artificially, and that is induced by the growth hormones like cytokinins, auxins and gibberellins. These are very important, and such fruits are seedless. Let's see some more examples of parthenocarpic fruits. So here you can see capsicum. Capsicum is developed without any seeds. Example of this is all artificially induced fruits. Here you can see the tomato which has seeds in it. This is a seedless tomato. Then the orange citrus fruit which is also not having any seeds in it. This is an example of parthenocarpic fruit. What is it? Watermelon. Seedless grapes. It's also an example of parthenocarpic fruits. So these fruits and all, when the flowers grow, so the growth hormones it's sprayed onto the flowers, so it leads to the formation of the seedless fruit. So this is another example of strawberry, how the hormones are injected into the flowers, and then like that many this one strawberries are formed as a result of this. It will not give the proper shape to the fruit itself. So this is one example of the hormonal effects of seed. And here you can see how the hormone is injected into the tomato plant for inducing seedless fruits. So that is very, very important application of asexual modes of reproduction. Another mechanism which we had learned is apomixis. So the without fertilization fruit is formed, that is known as parthenocarpy. That fruit does not have any seed. But in apomixis what happened? The seed is formed but without fertilization. So the production of seed without the fertilization is known as apomixis. So it is made up of two words. Apo means away from and mixis means mixing or mingling. So there is no mixing or mingling of the gametes, female gamete and male gamete. So it is also an effect of this one, artificially induced, and also it's an example of asexual reproduction, but it imitates sexual reproduction by the formation of seed without fertilization. So formation of seed without fertilization is called apomixis, and formation of fruit without fertilization is called parthenocarpy. Apomixis is also known as agamospermy. A means without, gamo without the gametes, and spermy is without the fertilization. So here apomixis, reproduction without fertilization. So agamospermy, which I told you, embryos arise without fertilization, and vegetative reproduction, reproduction by fragmentation, means any part of the plant can be cut and then it can be grown, like rose, money plant and all comes under this category. Now types of apomixis based on the occurrence. There are different types, like how the embryos develop. We can classify them as non-recurrent apomixis, recurrent apomixis and adventitious embryony. So in non-recurrent recurrent apomixis, embryo develop from any cell of the embryo sac. So it can be, that means they are haploid in nature. Embryos develop from any cell of the embryo sac which are haploid in nature, that is known as non-recurrent apomixis. Haploid parthenogenesis, embryos develop from egg cell. Haploid apogamy or pseudogamy, pseudo means false. So embryos develop from synergids or antipodals also give rise to the embryos. Then non-recurrent apomixis, embryo sac develop without meiosis from the diploid cell. So there is no process of meiosis which is happening or reduction division. So megaspore mother cell directly gives rise to the diploid cell. So they are of two types, diplospory and apospory. In diplospory, embryo sac develop from MMC, megaspore mother cell directly. In apospory, what happened? Embryo sac develop from any vegetative cell of the ovule. Then that is the embryo is developed from the diploid egg cell. And then adventitious embryony, embryo directly develops from which part? Nucellus, which we have seen in the case of an ovule, or integuments, which form the outer layer of the ovule. So these two parts also will give rise to the production of embryo. So this happens in mango and citrus fruit. So these are the different types of apomixis which are there. It will be useful for your entrance extra question which has been asked in that. Now the another mode of asexual reproduction which we have studied is polyembryony. In polyembryony, what happened is a phenomenon of formation of more than one embryo during the development of seed. Poly means many, embryony means more than one. And here this was discovered by Leeuwenhoek in 1719 in the case of citrus fruits like lemon or oranges. Polyembryony can be again classified as three types: simple, cleavage polyembryony or adventitious polyembryony. So simple is found in poa, then casuarinus and citrus, that is lemon and mango. Pinus and orchids exhibit cleavage polyembryony, and adventive polyembryony is seen again in some citrus, opuntia, onion, groundnut, etc. Now, how does this polyembryony, how it is forming it? The occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is known as polyembryony. How it can happen? So just see this, very important. Development of cells like synergids, cells of nucellus and cells of integument, they develop into embryo. Or formation of more than one embryo sac in an ovule also leads to polyembryony. Otherwise, formation of more than one egg in an embryo sac. All these different, that is, they are the different ways of forming embryonic seeds in a fruit. Now look at this diagram. Here you can see this is the normal development of an egg cell after the double fertilization, as I told you. So here only, that is, the embryo is developed, but here what happened, the cells of antipodals also will start developing into the embryo. So there is more than one embryo inside the fruit. So this is one condition which leads to polyembryony. Here another one, you can see that the other cells which are present in the embryo also, they will lead to the production of, that is, in the ovary, that also leads to the production of the embryo. So all this is nothing but it is a result, it results in the formation of polyembryony or many embryos in a ovule. So for example, this is orange, and then here you can see how single seed is producing many embryos. Some three embryos are developing from one single seed. So hope you have understood all this concept. I think with that topic we have come to the last part of this chapter, and if any doubt you can ask me about it. Please complete your notes and draw all the diagrams neatly and label it. Thank you, children.